Hello, everybody. It's Trinity from the Divine Path LLC and Moonstone Mystics here for another 12-step tarot. I'm working on the theme song. Anyway, I spoke with my sponsor on Thursday this last week, or Wednesday. I don't remember when the hell it is. My days are blue. But I let her decide, and so she wanted to hear about step 4. So let's go ahead. I already pulled some cards. Because I had started filming and then I got a call from my son that I had to take. So stop, start, stop, start. And I am not technologically inclined. So when I stop a reading, I stop a reading. And then I start over. So anyway, let's go ahead. And right now I'm using the Mystic Martian Oracle to start the reading off. And I have pulled 5 cards. So the very first card is Vesica Piscis. And it is Divine Feminine, Birthing, and Fertility. And one of the things about step 4, it's not about pointing fingers. It's not about self-loathing. It is about just noticing our patterns. And that was one thing that was really difficult for me in the very beginning, because I was like, the stuff that happened to me in my childhood, what accountability? I don't have any accountability in this. Where my accountability lied was to see the patterns that set me up for making the decisions and displaying the behaviors that I had later on. That's all. I'm not a bad person, because I was abused as a child. But I needed to see where all of those patterns started. The next one is Tall Whites, Insecurity, uncertainty, distrust, and guarded. Okay. So when we first come into the program and we're kind of looking at the juggernaut of 4, which it's time consuming and tedious, not gonna lie, especially that first one, but it's worth the time and effort you put in. And the more thoroughly you do it, the more you're gonna get out of it. Again, to notice patterns. The more data you have, the more you can see a clear pattern that's happening. But we come in and we haven't done this. We haven't looked at our own patterns, and we haven't made amends for the things that we did need to take accountability for. And so we're walking around feeling really uncertain and guarded and don't trust anyone. So that's one aspect of step 4, is that this is the beginning process of being able to get to know ourselves on a really deep level. And that in turn really does start facilitate true, genuine self-confidence. I'm not talking about the cockiness or the narcissism that a lot of us come in, the bravado, like the I'm the shit, That's not what this is about. This is about a true deep-seated knowing that you are worthy and you are valid and you are of the Creator. And so and that peace and serenity that comes with it, you don't have to have bravado, you just are. That bravado is a mask. So don't confuse the two, because they are incredibly different. Oftentimes when people have all of that machismo and the bravado and the cockiness, deep down, they are very insecure. And that's something we can work on, but we have to acknowledge our own patterns of behavior. And then we have to move forward in an attempt to change those patterns. Next one is Ouroboros, and that is Infinity, Eternal, Past Life. So we're really looking at, I like the analogy where there's a semicolon. There's the before and after. There's the past life and the present. And so right now we're looking at our past and noticing, again, circular behaviors. Oftentimes things come in cycles, family cycles, karmic cycles, all of those things. We identify them so that we can leave the cycle, get off the merry-go-round, so to speak. All right. The next one is Third Eye, which is visions, manifesting, and meditation. So this is the turning point. And step 9 is really an important part of your intuition getting fully online. Right now, we're learning how to do that, because what we think is our intuition is our ego rearing its ugly head, and then we make bad choices. And so, learning what boundaries look like, what true self love looks like without it being selfish and self centered, what it looks like to be of service in a community that we actually care about, that in return cares about us, that all starts this process. And when you're able to get to the point where your third eye is starting to open up, because that's what really happens, is you're starting to align your chakras, your hormones, physically, all of that stuff, you start feeling really good, and you start being able to have better intuition. And you can also see things coming from a mile away. When you notice your own patterns, you'll start noticing the patterns of other people in your life. And it's up to them to change it. So I don't want you to get into trying to control them. Just use it as information so that you can, move to the side of the train tracks instead of staying on the rails. All right. Next is Venusians, romance, soulmates, and empathy. Now, when I look at this, I'm actually seeing a balance of, we started off with the divine feminine, and that being in step 4 really takes us being in that feminine where we are receptive to information. My oven agrees. Once we're done and we've noticed our patterns, we can actually start not only forming healthier relationships with other people through that amends process, which is, steps 6 through 9, but also within ourselves. We marry the divine masculine and the divine feminine within. And that's really where it's at, because you're going to be able to be in receptive mode. You've got your antennas up. You're getting those hits of intuition, and then you're able to act upon them because you don't have any internal blocks in your psyche preventing you. And what the layman's term for a psychic block is really the belief systems that you're buying into. So I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not enough. That lack mentality really does stop us. The word can't. If you notice yourself saying, I can't seem to do this or I can't do that. Really? Because we don't say can't in this household, ma'am or sir. Change it to, oh yes, you can. Because that's what Cosmic Kids Yoga says. If you want gentle yoga, I really actually highly recommend her channel. Okay, so we have done our Mystic Martians. So let's go ahead and look at, I'm hearing the Dark Mirror Oracle is going to be next. All right. Angels, ancestors, universal source, and anything of the truth and the light that is for our greatest good. What do we need to know about step 4? I'm hearing that this is what we're going to vet out. Dark Mirror Oracle is really great if you want to know what character defects you need to be working on. I highly recommend that deck, but that's more for 6 and 7, so this is just kind of a blanket. So don't get too deep. We're just on 4. Don't jump ahead. You do not have the Zoom pass at Disney here. It's one step at a time. All right. Okay, so the goal is to remain peaceful among thorns. Okay, I actually really love the fact that this card came out because it is really showing us exactly what the goal is, learning to take life on life's terms. And that means taking people for who they are and letting them be on their own path. We still have to function in the world with them. That doesn't mean you have to keep them close to you. It means that you can be peaceful even when they're popping off. So, that emotional regulation. I mean, look at this. It's kind of a scary background, but look at the meditation that's happening in the middle. All right. Our next one is forgetting oneself. So in the big book, it talks about how there needs to be a dissolution of the ego. And no, that is not a quote from the book. That is something I came up with to make that piece shorter. We need to lose the old ego and really rebuild ourselves. I believe the quote is something like, I have to let go of my identity. I'll be nothing, or I'll be like the hole of a donut. Well, first and foremost, donut holes are good. I personally like them, especially when they're glazed. But yeah. Anyway, and then also learning to love oneself through the temple of the body. So those are the three main goals in doing 4 is to learn to have emotional regulation, to divest yourself from ego so that you can be you have to realize that I think the reason why I'm coming back to this is because that's probably one of the hardest parts of it is the fact that we have to really let go of a lot of belief systems that we had before. But we have to realize that those belief systems were really what was holding us back. And it was what was making us display certain behaviors and to make certain decisions for ourselves that were unhealthy. We have an opportunity during step 4 to not only see our patterns and make changes, but to really change who we are as an individual into what our higher power had always meant for us to be, without the filter of society, without the filter of our family. And I can tell you firsthand that my experience in doing that, it was hard, but nothing worth getting rarely is something worth getting easy to get. But I have found a peace within and a love for myself that I never had before. And so it's so worthwhile. It's worth going with the flow in that and letting the pillars of belief systems crumble so that you can really start, getting within your own. And then also learning how to love your body. One thing that I usually do with the ladies that I sponsor is to have them look at themselves in the mirror, preferably without clothes on, but it totally depends on their comfort level. And obviously they're going to be alone, but to look at themselves and say 3 things that they love about their body. Because I know a lot of us really struggle with comparing ourselves to airbrushed fake material that they put out there with the, this is what we expect you to look like. You will get to the point where you really love on your body. Like my stretch marks, if I showed you my tummy, it's all stretched out. And you know what? That's a sign that I created 2 beautiful human beings. I love my stretch marks. I love my pooch. It just showed that my body did a wonderful, wonderful thing in creating. All right. So anyway, that is the goal of step 4. And, what we're trying to look at, what we're getting out of it. So anyway, if you have a recommendation on a step that you'd either like to circle back to and have more clarification on, or one that I haven't touched yet, let me know in the comments. Like and subscribe. Do all of the YouTube things. If no one's told you today yet, know that I love you. Take care.